Hey, baby. You want some coffee?
Oh, yes. Coffee, please.
All right.
Let's do that.
V60?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. While our V60 is pouring, you may have noticed that I got my coffee out of my little container here instead of out of like a coffee bag or whatever the coffee came in. One of the things about Merida that we've noticed is that food packaging and food storage is a different beast than what you're used to in the US. You have to account for heat and moisture and mold, which we mentioned in other videos. But in particular, when it comes to food storage, you gotta be careful. So what I do is I buy a lot of little small containers or big containers depending on what I want to put in it. And for this one, I have coffee in it. It sits out on my counter, it's closed off. I don't really have to worry about moisture getting into it because again, it has a closed lid. If I left it in the bag that it came in, I'd be worried about egg bugs getting into it and it being open and moisture and humidity and things like that. And possibly just losing what I need it to be in regards to coffee. I also have a container here for this is my cornstarch. I have another one for my flour. And I got these at Bodega for like $1 or $2.
Bodega Herrera.
And then I have sugar, and I have one for rice. This is my small one. It was actually coffee. I just repurposed it, and now it's cornmeal because you know cornbread and stuff. And we have our fruit and veggies over here. Mindful that when you keep things out here a day or two, they're gone. They're not going to last you 3 or 4 weeks. And I tend to leave my fruits and veggies out because they're straight from the farm here a little bit, and they're just not the same as the stuff that you have in the States where it's been sent from across the world. And the spoilage factor, the preservatives and things like that are going to last a little bit longer. Here it's not the case. And that's the first pro tip when it comes to moisture in your home, in your kitchen. We're going to finish up this coffee and take you through what we do in the rest of our home.
Y'all, I've been waiting for this. Cat been holding out on the V60 coffee. I've been waiting on this, so excuse me, I had to enjoy it for a second. But we were talking about cabinets. So we do have a couple of sets of actual cabinets with doors. But same issue comes up, and we keep, you know, dry goods in here, my wine, judge your mom. And it's dark down here, it can get damp because the kitchen gets humid. So what you do have to do when you have cabinets like this is give time for air to flow through. You do have to open them sometimes, just leave them open, even if it's just a crack. I try to do it in the evenings normally, so we're not walking in here and cabinet doors just open. But in the evenings especially, just to give airflow, because we had an issue when we first got here with some mold in there, and now that we've been doing the open cabinets and things like that, we haven't had that issue anymore. So it's definitely something to think about. It's something you don't usually have to think about depending on where you live in the United States, but it's definitely something you have to consider here in Mexico.
That's good. All right, so you notice on this side of the house, we sort of divided our kitchen up into specialty sections, I like to call it. And a lot of cabinets in Merida are open face like this, and there's a reason for that. The reason is because the thing we keep talking about, which is mold and humidity. If the cabinets are open, they're allowed to breathe, and that helps. What we do with our spices, we pretty much tend to keep them in the container they came in, which is always mindful that they may dry out or something like that. So they may not last as long. You can also buy smaller containers with a glass lid. With the lid that can lock everything in. We tend to go with this. I did notice though with our salt, if you get the container that has like a spigot, it clumps up, the moisture gets to it. So this actually works really well with the bag, with the zip tie at the top or something, like whatever this is, the little press-in thing, it works really well. So if you can get seasonings with this type of format, you'll be fine. This is good. It's just sometimes it gets really clumpy depending on the spice itself. So just be mindful when you're buying spices. But we don't have a problem too much. Again, the airflow is here, and that's the reason why that this is designed for a lot of the kitchens. You can get cabinets, or kitchens rather, with doors on them. There's gonna be some issues with that, but it looks good. We okay with it either way. This is like a half and half kitchen, and there's certain things that we store on this side that's open, and certain things we store on the other side, and there's a reason for that.
Okay, y'all, so the laundry room. The laundry room is a big area when it comes to humidity in Mexico. So it's gonna be humid in the house regardless. The laundry room, where you have your washer and your dryer, are gonna be even on level 10 of that humidity. So there's not a whole lot that you can do to get around that, except we actually do leave the door open every so often, not usually when the dryer's running because it's hot and we don't want to be burning up in the house, but usually we'll try overnight or sometime in the evening just to leave the door open for a while so that the whole room doesn't just stay humid. Because what happens is, even though we keep mostly dry goods in here and like sheets and towels, you don't want all that stuff with just moisture all over it. It's just a breeding ground for mold and whatever else could happen. So just a good tip to keep in mind when it comes to your laundry room and your pantry areas.
All right, as Amber mentioned, there's certain things that we keep in certain cabinets, and we do cross ventilation for those. I like to, like she mentioned, leave it open at night while we're sleeping, and then when we get up in the morning, we open up the house, we close up the cabinets, is the way I look at it. And you do have to open up your house, let some air circulate. Merida is not the place where you can just keep your doors closed, windows down, AC on, and fans going. Your home will develop mold if you do that. And this also carries over to your pots and pans. Surprised me, but people mention it and I just didn't see it at first, but now I do, especially with the hot season, and now we're going into the rainy season. You're definitely going to have moisture in the home whether you want it or not. So here we keep our pots and pans in this cabinet here, and what I've noticed is when we bring the pots out, sometimes there's mold in them, especially the ones we don't use a lot. So when you wash your pots and pans, you have to dry them thoroughly, right? Don't let the bottom be wet. Don't let even a trickle of moisture inside be in there. You will develop mold. The way I combat that is we dry all of our pots, and even then I pull them out before I use them, and I wash what I'm going to use that night for dinner, breakfast, lunch, whatever meal I'm cooking. I make sure that everything's been thoroughly scrubbed before we use it. And the thing is, you may not even see the mold depending on the pot and the texture of it or however it's designed, but I promise you there's going to be something there. Best bet, wash it. Just make sure that you're keeping you and your family safe. And last but not least is the fridge. So our fridge is clunky inside, so I'm not going to show you that. But I will tell you that I put things in there that I probably wouldn't put normally, but once I open it, and if I don't have a storage container for it, it goes in my fridge. So like my grits, because I don't have a big enough container for that, or maybe I don't have enough grits this week left, I'll put it in the fridge. A loaf of bread, we started eating off of it, it goes in the fridge. A lot of those things I used to keep out because I consider it dry goods, and it's not that big of an issue. But here, it goes in the fridge. I keep my butter in the fridge. Back at home, I can leave my butter on the counter. Some people keep their eggs on the counter. I actually keep mine in the fridge. I don't do well with unrefrigerated eggs. Just the little things like that. You just gotta trial and error. But if it doesn't work outside, put it in the fridge. All right, y'all. That was our morning with our cup of coffee. And we hope you enjoyed the tips. that we shared about your kitchen in Merida.
Kitchen and laundry areas.
And I also at the bathroom, which we didn't talk about as much, but mold is obviously an issue in there because of moisture taking showers, toilets, all that stuff like that. We leave the door open. If you don't have a window in your bathroom, which a lot of homes do not have windows in the bathroom, just keep that in mind. That may be a factor for you.
Yeah, I keep Clorox in a bottle, diluted Clorox, just in case, because sometimes you can see mold starting. All you gotta do is just handle it. So yeah, it's it's just a way of life here.
Yeah, and there mold appears on the walls here pretty much. Pretty often, not often. We've had it in one home one time.
Right. It hasn't been a consistent issue here. Just if we neglect to like open the door or open a window, then it can become an issue.
Yeah. So just to give you an idea, when we start our day in the morning, we're generally up sometime between 8 and 9:30, depending on what day of the week it is. We open the home up. I mentioned that earlier. We open up the sliding doors with the screens.
Of course.
Cut the ceiling fans on, and we just let air flow into the home for a couple of hours before it gets too hot and before we turn the AC on. So we don't wake up with the AC on in the main part of the home, just because we want it to dry out from the night before. And if you wake up and you turn your AC on, you're really just basically adding moisture on top of moisture. You're not letting the home, again, breathe, because these are concrete walls. We're in a humid climate. You definitely got to do things a little bit different. Not oddly even. I mean, because it feels normal to me to open up the home every morning and just let the air in.
Some people just make a habit of doing that. So it's not really, it's just here it's more necessary.
Right.
As opposed to it being just something you like.
Right.
It's really necessary.
Right. But I like it and it works. And I like that morning energy as well. So you also have that factor, that morning fresh breath of air. It comes into the home. It releases everything from the day before, if you believe in the type of stuff, which I tend to do. And it dries it at the home. So, it's a 2 for 2 for us. But yeah, that's our home in Merida. And
a lot of times we turn on fans in there too.
Yeah, we turn fans.
Okay, yeah, we usually do that as well, at least for a while.
Right. So those are our tips for Merida and how we live in our home in the kitchen. Check our other videos out where we talk about bugs and other things. And as we continue to live here and we find new ways of dealing with some of the challenges, we'll share them with you. If there's something that you want us to, in particular to touch on, definitely let us know.
Or if you have any tips to share with us, please do.
Of course. I am Kat.
And Amber.
Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, hit that bell so that you'll see all our videos as soon as they go live. And we'll see you on the next video, y'all. Peace and love.